All right, this is going to be Real Talk episode 18. So, I'm just going to talk about some general things that have been happening, like, I don't know, the wars, mass shooting, things like that. And the reason why I'm going to talk about this is because we need to live in some semblance of reality and understand that things are not quite as good as you may want them to be. Now, granted, I still think that generally speaking, because of all the crazy things that are happening, people are starting to wake up and see the truth in front of their eyes, where you can't deny it, right? You just have to face the facts. We're not exactly in the world you may have thought you were in, right? You may have thought this is a good world, everything's great, and all that. But the truth is, the world is run and controlled by an evil death cult. That's the truth. There are demons that are still, to this day, still controlling the world and making evil happen. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. This is a point people need to really get into their heads. Who decides who gets to live and who gets to die? Who is worthy of life? Who makes that decision? Is it God? Is it demons? The devil? Is it the government? Is it crazy people that decide to shoot up schools? Like, who is the ultimate decider that these people should be spared and these people should be killed, right? And I mean, everybody dies at some point, but even that shouldn't be happening. Death shouldn't be happening. Nobody should die. Death is not natural. People think death is natural. It's not. It was created to be a condition for the human body by the ones that created these bodies and altered them. But we're supposed to live for as long as we want to live. We're supposed to be immortal. That's the truth. But because the world is controlled and run by an evil death cult, we are not immortal. We die, we suffer. And there are mass shootings and there are wars and transsexuals being promoted and stuff like that, right? Because they want the end of humanity. But they don't just want to destroy humanity. They want to desecrate humanity, humiliate, embarrass, turn inside out everything that we are, literally. And then they want to destroy humanity. So it's a lot more evil than people think. But unless you see what's going on and who's doing what, you're never going to see the truth. And you're always going to think, living in your delusion that everything is peachy and fine and things will get better. No, they're not. Things are not just going to get better. Things are not just going to improve. People have to take a stand and fight back against the evil. That is the truth. That's why I talk about what I talk about and I do what I do. That's my sole purpose on YouTube or any of these platforms, is to wake people up and tell them to fight back and do something. And I talk about what I talk about because I want people to know what's really happening. Not the BS that you see on the news or what some popular YouTuber said or whatever, some celebrity. That's not the truth. Those people are fake and they're liars. They were put there as controlled opposition or psyops or whatever you want to call it to manipulate you and fool you and lull you into a sense of security so that you can live your life in ignorance. And you know what they say, ignorance is bliss, right? So as long as you don't know what's going on, you're going to continue on the path that you will be going on, which will lead to the end of humanity. That's the truth. So unless people see things for what they are, nothing's really going to change for the better. You're just going to have the illusion that things are getting better, but they're not. That's the truth. Look at what's happening. And I'm going to say this about the mass shootings. It's the same community recently, in recent times, that has been doing it. There are people that are being radicalized by the news, the media, social media, and all these celebrities and the government. They're being radicalized to believe that they're missing some kind of rights and that it's their right to go and cause violence and pain on people that they believe are doing them wrong. They feel justified in doing this because they have mental problems and they're being gaslit by our society. That's why these mass shootings are happening. And if I didn't know any better, they all seem to be MK Ultra'd. And if you don't know what MK Ultra is, go look it up. But all these people seem to be under some kind of control or spell where they're being ordered to do these shootings all at the same time. It seems like, oh, wow, here's another one. Here's another one. And all these people are highly trained. That's one thing that catches my attention more than anything that people don't really focus on is how trained these individuals are. People chalk it up to, oh, they were obsessed with doing the killings, or they were planning it all this time. Blah. No, they weren't. These are just some retarded, mentally deranged people that were probably controlled mentally, MK Ultra, and trained to be proficient in using these weapons when they go into these situations so that they can do the most damage or harm that they can do before they're taken out. That's how MK Ultra works. So, long story short, I don't believe these are coincidences or just random events of people doing this stuff. I have never heard of one mass shooting that I thought was a random event by a random human without some kind of something behind them doing it. Every mass shooting that I've heard of or crazy event like this, so far from my research, has been some kind of control. Usually government control. I think actually all of them are probably government control, to be honest with you. But why is the government doing this stuff? Why are they controlling humans that have mental problems to go and commit these acts? Well, there are two reasons. Well, there are many reasons, but let me say the two reasons that I want to talk about. One is to try to gain some kind of support for banning weapons in the United States. That's probably the main reason. And another is to try to gain some kind of sympathy for these people that are committing these acts, or for the communities that are being targeted. For instance, the mass shooting that happened in Orlando a few years ago in the gay club, right? Or whatever. That was done to try to gain some support for the gay community or the LGBTQ community, right? That's what that was for. It's like, oh my God, how can somebody do this to that community? And now look at what's happening now with the latest one that took place in the Christian school. They're not supporting the Christians that died. They're supporting the transsexual. That's who the media is supporting. And they're saying, oh, how sad is it that this person felt this way and they were treated so bad by society that they had to go do this. So you see how the support, no matter who the victims are, always goes in one direction? It's always the same shit. They're supporting the same community, promoting the same community. That's why I talk about this shit. People aren't focusing on what the real problems are and what the real agenda is. They are like, oh, it's just some crazy person that went and did this crazy thing and it's just random. No, it's not. If you're that fucking stupid, how many random things have to happen before you see a pattern and say, okay, this is actually, if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a fucking duck. How many times do you have to see the same goddamn duck to say, oh, it's a duck. It's actually a fucking duck. It's not a fucking goose. It's not a fucking chicken. It's not a turkey. It's a fucking duck. Fuck. How many times? People just don't fucking get it. And the worst part is that the most popular people, the people that people look up to on YouTube, and I always talk about Tim Pool, right? And even somebody like The Quartering or Crowder or whoever, all these popular people, they never say the full truth. They make up some bullshit in their mind and they say, oh, I'm going to go with this narrative that I just made up. And that's not the truth. It's some half-baked bullshit that they came up on the spot to make themselves sound and seem smart. I'm telling you what the fuck is really happening. I'm not making up some shit so I can sound good, because I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with what the fuck I'm saying. But it's the goddamn truth. Period. The truth is unpopular. And guess what? I'm the real truth, so fuck it. I'm unpopular. I don't care. But I'm going to say what it is. Period. I'm never going to stop speaking the truth. And if you don't believe what I'm saying, go look up what I'm talking about. Go do the research yourself and you'll find the answers. You don't have to listen to me. Just go look up what I just said and you'll find it. I prefer people to go look at stuff on their own so that way you learn and see things for yourself instead of somebody spoon feeding you, right? Like a fucking baby. People need to grow the fuck up and figure things out. Like I told you guys before, when I was in the military, which was very time consuming, trust me, I still was able to do most of the bulk of my research and learning about how the world really works while I was in the military. So I don't want to hear this excuse that people don't have time to learn and research and figure out what's going on in your world. If you don't have time, then you're just going to get fucked, period. Because you don't care enough to stop the craziness that's happening. Because everything else is so much more important. I'm going to tell you something right now. If you don't focus on the real evil that's taking place and all the problems that are really happening, and you think your life is more important, your little job, your little 9 to 5, your little family, if you think that's more important than the crazy shit that's happening in the world, eventually they're going to take your job, they're going to take your family. Because you didn't pay attention. So you're not going to have shit. You're going to be left with nothing because you didn't focus on what really matters, which is the crazy shit that's happening that needs to be stopped. From the wars to the killings to the mass shootings to the transsexual agenda and all this other shit, they're going to take your family and your job. I'm telling you. Don't believe me? Just keep playing. Just keep ignoring the shit. Just keep doing your little life and living your life how you want. And I'm trying not to be too negative, but it's the truth. And unfortunately, the truth of this world is very negative. That is and shit I could do about it. I can't sugarcoat it. But anyways, I think I said enough. I think you guys get the point. If you like, comment, subscribe, share where you can. Hit the notification bell. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.